Hello, welcome to HCC MovieMakers Academy Movie Reviews. I'm Trey, Dixon.
And I'm Grayson, Blackburn.
And the two of us just saw The Imitation Game. The Imitation Game is the new film from director Morton Tildum. It stars Benedict Cumberbatch, Keira Knightley, Matthew Goode, Charles Dance, a handful of other actors, and it follows the life of Alan Turing as he and a handful of other mathematicians attempt to decode the Enigma machine, which was being used by the Germans during World War II to decrypt all of their messages regarding attack plans. It also touches on Alan Turing's life as a homosexual and how he tries to hide that side of himself from the public.
Hitting on a few technical aspects of the film was, the budget of the film was $14 million, and the total worldwide gross is $66 million. With that, the Weinstein Company, who's the studio behind the film, bought the film for $7 million from the European film market, which is a record-breaking high for a film for U.S. distribution from the European film market.
The Weinstein Company really loves their biopics.
Yes.
And this is a very good biopic.
It is very good. It's very, very historically accurate.
I think that there was a lot of work that went into the look of this film. You were telling me about how the Enigma machine was very accurate in the way it actually looked.
The machine that is used to decode the Enigma machine that was used by the Nazis is a exact replica of the machine that is in the Bletchley Museum in the UK. But in order to make it more cinematic, for an example, they had to make it a little bit bigger.
More gears and stuff.
More gears, just make it a little bit bigger. But it is actually 100% historically accurate.
Yeah, no, a lot of really hard work went into the look of this film, capturing the
100%.
look of the World War II British.
Yes.
Really, really great work done in that area of the film, as well as performances.
Yes.
I think that Benedict Cumberbatch deserves the nomination that he received. Really, really delicate balance that he has between neuroses and bitter emotional breakdown.
Well, I found that the character he portrayed was basically a machine. Like, he was the machine, which made him believe that only a machine could crack another machine. And so the way they portrayed him making the machine, but his personality also being very machine-like.
Yeah, very mechanical.
Repetitive. And yes, very mechanical routine.
You know, meticulous. Yes. His whole life was very meticulous. Even he didn't fit in with anybody. Really.
No, he did not at all.
There's a lot of great moments at the beginning of this movie. How he's ostracized early on by his peers, and in his own way, he feels ostracized societally as well, because
completely shut off.
A great deal of the movie deals with his attempts to hide the fact that he's a homosexual. And back in the day, during World War II era Great Britain, you had the option of either going to prison for a year or being subjected to chemical hormone therapy.
Yes.
And the way they do it is they stick this little thing into your hip, and it will periodically ingest hormones into you that basically sterilizes you.
And so with that the hormone therapy, or the homosexual therapy is what they want to call it, it literally made him go insane.
Yeah, it made him go insane. It affected his mind. It sterilized him completely, which was, the objective back then.
Yes.
And he elected to do this because if he were sent to prison, he wouldn't be allowed to work, and work was really his life.
He had become so fond, this machine that he had built, he named it Christopher. He had become so attached to this thing. If he went to prison, he wouldn't be able to use it.
They would have taken
play with it.
There's this really touching moment where he's talking about how he can't go, he can't bear to let them take Christopher and tear him apart, and you really get the sense that this was the world to him. And I was completely unfamiliar with the story of Alan Turing. This guy stopped World War II, essentially.
Yes. Winston Churchill went out to say that Alan Turing made the biggest contribution to the war, because without this machine to decode these messages, we
would have never been able to predict which ships would be attacked.
Yeah, we didn't know what the Nazis were going to do.
We wouldn't know how to fight back. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's and there's they go into great detail about how it is that they went around making sure that the Germans didn't catch on to the fact that they finally broke this machine.
They didn't just go in and deflect the attacks. They decided which attacks went through.
Yeah, so people ended up having to lose their lives if they had just went ahead and said, okay, we've got this done, let's go ahead and save as many people as humanly possible without thinking about the repercussions. The Germans would have caught on to the fact that, okay, these people have broken Enigma, so really cold-blooded but necessary.
And they touch on that a lot in the film because they have a team of people. They have a team of, I think a lot of them were teachers that came in to work on this project, and one of the kids, his brother was on a ship that was going to be attacked.
Yeah.
And so they had to make a unbiased opinion and
go ahead.
They had to let it go through.
Make the call and
to help win the war. They had to go through, even though they had a personal connection to this.
You know, the themes of this movie touch on a lot of mechanical humanity issues, but there's a great deal of emotion in this.
Oh, there's a lot of emotion.
Wonderful, wonderful scenes. Everybody really gets a chance to shine in this movie. Matthew Good, whose career died a little while ago in when he did Watchmen. Like he's back and he's on top of the world.
It was great. I was just reading something. In one of the final scenes, Benedict Cumberbatch could not stop himself from crying and breaking down on set.
I read that, yeah.
Because he was so attached to who Alan Turing was that he couldn't imagine the pain and the suffering and just the things that Alan Turing actually had to go through.
Yeah.
And he could not stop crying.
If you watch the Actors Roundtable that recently was posted on the internet, he was talking about all these things that he would ask this person, and you know he seems like an absolutely fascinating human being.
Oh yes.
And his contribution to the war effort and indeed humanity was absolutely massive. He is now not only the person who stopped World War II, but he's the godfather of computers.
Yes, the
Turing
machine.
Yeah, was essentially a then day computer. Yeah.
And so the Turing machine was named after Alan Turing because it was the first machine to actually be a computer.
Yeah. And, you know, a thing about this movie is that some people will walk out of it and not have much to say because it's a biopic and it's trying to stick really close to what it is that really happened. I don't feel a particular need to go back and see it, but it is a movie that I think everybody should see. It tells a story
100%.
that I didn't know anything about this. This is an absolutely wonderful story that I think everybody should know. A story that talks about a man who basically saved the world and was not rewarded for it, but ostracized for it.
I was like, it's just so sad that he made the biggest contribution to this war and almost ended it through the things he did. And then because of the secrecy around the project, they couldn't tell anybody about it. And so then he was found out to be gay, and they ended up
subjecting him to chemical hormones,
basically driving him insane.
You know, this isn't necessarily a spoiler because it's in history books. Everybody knows about it, but he ends up killing himself.
Yes.
You know,
not funny story, but interestingly enough, the way he ended up killing himself was he ate I think it was cyanide-induced apple, and the way he ate it, he took one bite and died. And so a lot of people speculated that the Apple computers used the design of the apple with a bite bitten out as their logo, but Steve Cook came out and said that wasn't true, and he wished they had thought of it. But I just thought that was very interesting that he was like the creator of a computer.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just...
what would you give this movie on a scale of 1 to 10?
9. 9 out of 10.
9?
Almost a 10.
Almost a 10. You see, when I walked out of the theater, I didn't have a lot to say about it because when you talk about this movie, you end up just talking about the plot.
Yes.
You talk about what happened, and you know, it's a well-made movie. It doesn't, I don't feel like on a technical level stand out in any way other than the fact that it's very meticulous in capturing the era of that, you know, that time period. But I enjoyed it a lot, and I think people should know the story and, you know, go in for the story and for the performances.
I think knowing the history behind it and just knowing about this person is very important. So I think everybody needs to see it.
I'd give it maybe a 7.5.
Okay.
I liked it. You know, I don't feel the need to watch it again, but it's something that you should see.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I agree with that.
Thank you for watching HCC MovieMakers Academy movie reviews. We're brought to you by the Houston Community College Filmmaking Program and HCC TV. We love films. If you love films, please contact us and enroll yourself in the art of filmmaking. Check us out on YouTube and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more videos just like this one. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day.